be more people, but I'm going to go ahead. Okay, just so you know, if you ever want to go back and look, I saved this. I didn't know Bill was going to save it, so I saved it under 5th grade. And there's a folder that says Tech PD 90, and it just says Wade flip chart. So whenever he saves something and he tells you where, I'll put it in there. I saved just a few flip charts from the grade levels that I've created, but I'm going to show you how to do something on the fly, just so in case you don't create one. But I saved some 1st, 3rd, and 5th, so there's a variety of grade levels. Hi, welcome. You can sit anywhere. You might want to sit where it's easier to see.
Okay, sorry.
But the first thing, well, first of all, most of the time when I do these, people say, but I can't make that. I don't know how to make that flip chart you made. If you don't know how to make it and you want to know how to make it, it really is easier than you think. If you know how to do PowerPoint, there's just a few little rule things that if you know, you can do all the cover-up things that seem very magical to children that are like the simplest thing ever. So if you want to know more, I can do like a little mini session with you if you want. And I can just show you a few things, but I won't be able to do that now because we don't have enough time. But I'm going to start by not opening any of my flip charts and just open Active Studio. And we're going to start by using the ActiveVotes. And Jennifer, do you know, does every grade level have a set of these? Because I thought we did. Okay, we'll ask Bill about that. I thought we did, but some grade levels didn't have any.
I believe some of them, they're not working correctly.
Okay, that could be batteries or anything. What Tracy was just asking me, can she search Promethean Planet? Also, you can go to Promethean Planet and you can look for any kind of flip chart you want. Some are really good on there. Some I take part of and I switch it around. So it's just good ideas too. You don't have to even have anything up on the screen to use these. So say I'm doing an on-the-fly lesson, and since we're doing adults right now, I'm just going to ask you so I can see who uses the board and who doesn't use it a lot. We're not keeping track of this, so you can be honest. But so if I was doing it for children, I would write the question up there, or I'd type it. But right now, I'm not going to write it. I'm just going to say, how often have you used the board with instruction, not watching movies or doing videos or announcements, but how often do you actually use the board? Like, it doesn't have to be Active Studio. So let's say often, sometimes, rarely, and D, never. So if I was doing the students, I would just write this up on the board and I'd say, all right, everyone get your active votes ready, and we're going to vote now. And it will bring this up, and when you vote, it will turn yellow. And that way they can see if they voted or not. If yours isn't working, let me know, because I've already had 2. So.
Flash green.
Mine's not up there.
It'll flash green and it'll turn yellow.
How do you know what number you're on?
It's on the top.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
The numbers might not be activated totally right, but okay, even if you're not done, it's okay. Just so we can get through this, because it's really quick. I haven't got through half the stuff. Then it brings up your chart, any kind of graph you want. So this brings up the horizontal graph, but you can change it to a vertical graph. You can change it to a pie chart. You can actually see how long, who answered? You can see how long it took everyone to vote. But I'm going to go back to the vertical. So say I'm doing a math lesson, and I want to use this the next day to extend the lesson, or I want to use it in a center activity later on where they have to answer questions. So maybe I want to go in and type questions for the kids to answer. So I would just go and take a picture of it using the picture tool, save it to my clipboard, and you can go to another page and just paste it right in. So I can right now do a lesson with this, or I can wait and do it another day. So this is saved. Otherwise, you would never be able to save it. And the next day, you wouldn't have the information again. You can take a picture. So that's one way to use the ActiveVotes on the fly. You can also use the Active Studio with just a website. So say I'm in the middle of teaching Number of the Stars, and we're talking about the Jews escaping to Sweden from Denmark. And they're a little confused. They don't know where that is, and I want to show them. So I just, on the fly, map. Okay, so I bring up this map, and right over it, as long as I open Active Studio again, I can annotate, which is this button, And right now, I can take my pen and I can say, okay, here's Copenhagen. This is where Anna Marie lives. So what do you notice about Sweden? And we can talk about that. You can see it, and there's a place in the story where she talks about being able to see it. We can talk about where they're going to go, and just as quick as that. So simply, I can take a picture of this and put it somewhere else. We can talk about it later. So it doesn't have to be something you plan ahead. It can be so fast on the fly. You can do this for any website. You can take a picture of anything on this site. So I could take a picture of the map and then have it for later or some other activity I want to do.
Crissy, have you used them with Brain Pop?
Used what?
The Active Oats.
You could, yeah.
But there's a way that you can make it like through Brain Pop, isn't there? Versus just...
You can use, as long as you have this open, right now I can click this.
Right, and vote.
And we can still vote. Like, it's going to open up on this page too. Sorry. So it's opening up. So if I had Brain Pop up here and it would still open up. I'll show you.
No, but like Brain Pop has a whole tutorial on using Active Oats with Brain Pop. And I'm wondering if
I
they're
don't know.
integrated or if
open it
it's
like
just
this.
still two separate components and you're just using it while
I don't
you're
know how it
doing
would be together. I don't know. I didn't even know that. I would just open it like this and use it. So I don't know. They would have to work with Promethean if it was put together, I would think.
to watch the tutorial. See?
Have you watched it?
No, I need to.
I don't know. I really don't know. But I've never even thought about that. Okay. Is there anything specifically that you've been dying to know about what to do on the flip chart, or do you just want me to show you some things that I've done and how you can use it?
Show us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your participation.
Show us.
Okay. See, the last group, they had a lot of questions of things they didn't know how to do, so where are you? Okay, I'm just going to start with the first grade, this word detective one. My pen just started working 2 weeks ago, so I'm super excited. I walked around all day like this with my pen.
How did it start working?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Calvin came up and started. He did. He just came up and started messing around with the board.
Something was unplugged and my pen didn't work because of that.
It's like, but I didn't even do anything. I've been messing around forever trying to figure out what chord's not right, and then he came up and started doing something. I'm like,
We need to find out who pens are working. We can get that fixed.
Mm-hmm.
okay, so this one is just a first grade one, but you can do this for any grade level as long as you just at their level. But they would come up here and they could do this independently in a center, or you can do it as a whole group lesson. I did it with extended day in 3rd grade the other day when we were talking about adjectives. So they would come up and they would highlight where they found the adjectives, and all that part. And then they could actually check to see if what they guessed the clue was actually correct by erasing it, which is like, surprise, I'm magical. But really, all you have to do, they think like, how did you do that? And now they're all engaged and they can't wait to come up to the board and they're all listening. All you have to do that is use the pen and color over this in white. That's all you do. It's like the easiest thing. And I never tell them, I don't know, it's just magic, guys. So that's one way. This we would use active votes, or if they were doing it independently, they could circle the answer and then they could check the answer. All I did there is come up here, create a box, put it over it, and then I typed over the box and saved it. You can put sound effects in there. So, okay, what animal is that? Then they describe the animal with adjectives over here. Then they can check to see their answer, or you could look at the picture to use to describe it. Active votes are independent. This is just a drop and drag into the categorizing. I would do active votes for this. And then this, I do all the time in 5th grade. This will also be a good way to think about the park where they have to pull out information. This is obviously a little tiny 1st grade passage, but what they would do is highlight to find the answer, and I highlight all the time in my classroom with the different colors. So they would do, I would maybe do this as an introduction lesson to introduce this. So here's, in red, what is the title of this passage? The student would come up and they would highlight, whoops, they'd have to change it to red to match the questions. They would highlight zoos. Then, to show them that you can answer the question in a complete sentence using almost the entire question, they come up here, the title of this passage is, and then they can come up here with their pen and red and finish it. And of course, we would go back over here and maybe put a capital letter there, and we talk about that. And then the next one, they would use green. And then they would highlight the question in green, and they do the same thing, drop and drag. And I did this in third and first all the time. And I probably should do it in fifth with a few students who still are writing sentences incomplete, but that's a simple one. My projector is like off, so I can't click anything that's below that. Okay. This one, if it opens, okay. This, I'm going to show you this map. Okay, they were very confused when I got to this part because they kept thinking that this, even though it's Berlin, was Germany because it looks very similar, and I couldn't get them to get that concept that this is separate. And I actually had this the opposite way, so I switched it and put this up here with this arrow, and still they're like, but how is it different? So one tool that's good for that is I don't want them to look at this map anymore. I only want them to look at this map. So if you take this tool, it's called the reveal tool, and you can cover everything up and move it over here, and that way they're only looking at this. So I've kind of just revealed that section. So it's very, very simple, especially maybe first or when they can't concentrate on one section and you're just trying to talk about that. That's the reveal tool. And these tools are up here. If you just click here, you can find any of the tools. When you click on it, it'll put it over here in your menu board for you. And I have these, and the ones that I use a lot, I would put up here, have up here.
Is that one you could use with the internet then, like if you're showing?
Yeah, you can, and if you annotate over it, you can use anything. Anything you pull up, you can do on any page. You can also use this tool. I use a lot, well, not a lot, but I mean, no, because if you only want them to see the beginning, you can come down and you could, I didn't want to start with this map anyway, but if I did, then I would just start here, and then I could go all the way down. Let's see. Another way that okay, like on this one, as guided notes, we would talk, and as they reveal things, then I can come up here and just reveal a little at a time as we talk about it. So you can also just put a square in there instead of using the whole reveal tool. You can use this just as a partly review it. Thinking if there's anything else on this website. Oh, this is a good example. If I just wanted to start off looking at this, or if I wanted to zoom in on something particular in this, for this one, I might want to zoom in to just this part. It's easier to do this with. Down here, which is what the Supreme Court actually says about it. And I might just want to just zoom in on that part. We were talking, I wish there was a way to actually make it bigger, and I thought there used to be. So many people have used the board a lot. I can't remember. There used to be a tool that used to actually make it bigger, I thought.
What if you just did Control Plus? Would that work?
Oh, I don't know. On this, on the Active,
On
Active
your
Studio?
keyboard.
Keyboard.
What is it that makes it bigger?
Control Plus.
No, it doesn't
No.
work.
Okay.
It doesn't work on this. So I wish there was something that could then take this and make this whole thing bigger, but I can't figure that out yet, so. If I ever figure it out, I'll tell you. Any other thriving things that you want to know? I could open up another one. Oh, this one's a good one. This one we did with compound and complex sentences. I don't like the grammar book at all, so it's in my closet, so I often use the board to introduce things. Here they would have to highlight in yellow the independent clauses and in green the dependent clauses. So then they might come up here, and the doorbell rang, no one answered it, and which one is that? It has two independent clauses, and then they would pull down whichever kind of sentence it is. So that would just be very quick. And then also the same thing with the the mystery of it all, and they think this is so cool. This could be an independent activity later on. It could be a center, or it could just be an activity to do with your class. But whatever color they choose is what kind of sentence they think it is. If it is whatever kind of sentence it is, if it's not the correct answer, it'll cover it up. If it is, then it will see through it. And the only thing you do for that is so easy. You clicked on this and you reorder it. So if you want it to be in front of it so they can't see it, you would say bring to front. If you want it to be behind it so you can see the words, you would say send to back. So it's just a matter of layering. When you make flip charts, layering is really the way you create these things that the kids think are magic. If it's either in front of it or behind it. So this could either be a way for them to check themselves independently. There was only 3 of them, so we did it kind of as a group and kids came up and we talked about it. So just a simple little grammar lesson. This one is just a PowerPoint because I had made this in PowerPoint, not in Active Studio, but I wanted to use PowerPoint with it. So this is what you're talking about maybe, or someone else asked about, can you do it anyway? So this was a lesson. Oops, I don't know where that came from. Oh, I pasted it. So we read this book. We talked about the 4 pieces of advice she gives. And then we had a passage, and I wanted them to go in with the passage and highlight those 4 pieces of advice that they found in the passage. So that's where it's not going to let me annotate it without. It might not let me open it all the way up. But I can go in here now, and I can use my highlighter tool to highlight where I found those passages. So maybe one of them was some ways of metaphors or something. So, I don't know, dented garbage cans were like soldiers. We're lined up like soldiers. And we talk about what piece of evidence that came from. I also, with this, often open up websites that have examples. So it's linked.
One last time, staff.
So we'd open up this website.
Are finished. Enjoy the rest of your workday.
And within the website, we can use the annotated, and we can come in there and annotate over it. Right there directly as soon as you open the website. So you can write anything, circle anything. So if you opened up, I always open up like examples I get online. Writingfix.com has tons of them. And we go in and circle and highlight all kinds of stuff for writing lessons. So
What did you say?
Writingfix.com.
Okay.
But this one is actually opens up to a brainstorming where they can brainstorm. It just brings up, pressing it brainstorms different ways, kind of a way to give them ideas on what to write. But, all right, our time is up.